Dogma 2 looks unbelievable.
From its one-of-a-kind pawn mechanic that encouraged you to frequently swap out AI-controlled companions from a network populated by creations from other players, to
This
its
looks
action-centric
epic.
combat that had you climbing all over giant monsters in order to specifically target weak points and bring them down to size.
This looks
There's
epic.
nothing quite like it, even to this day. My big takeaway after playing an hour of Dragon's Dogma 2 is that Capcom is doubling down on everything that made Dragon's Dogma so unique, with a big focus on refining and polishing those elements to a shine. And in that regard, they're succeeding. Pawns do pretty much everything that they did in the first game, but their contributions to both combat and navigation are much more immediately noticeable.
This looks
Melee combat feels
awesome.
more impactful and weighty, and exploration through its now seamless open world feels
Look
equal
how cool
parts
it looks.
rewarding and dangerous. That said, after an hour of killing the same usual Dragon's Dogma rogues gallery of goblins, cyclops, saurians, harpies, bandits, and attempting the occasional griffin,
Oh my
I couldn't
god.
help but wish that I experienced something that truly felt new in this sequel.
Oh my god. You climb on top of monsters and slash at their necks.
My demo began right outside the human kingdom of Vermund, and gave me free reign to go wherever I wanted. I had a handful of quests I could follow, with my pawns already set with knowledge of those quests, meaning that I could simply let them lead the way and not have to deal with constantly bringing up the map and making sure that I was still on course.
That's
Pawns
awesome.
having experience and knowledge of quests is not new to Dragon's Dogma, and occasionally in the first game, they would lead you through some tricky to follow paths. But here in Dragon's Dogma 2, it was
Do you guys want me to get into this type of gaming? Because honestly, I would love just to get lost in this type of a world for like 10 hours streaming, or at least 6-7 hours, I don't know, but for a long time, you know, just grab a beverage, sit down, and just get lost for like 6 hours, you know. You guys care about this kind of stuff?
far more reliable.
Yes.
A simple press of left on the D-pad to issue a help command while out of combat was enough for my pawn to understand that I was looking for a trail to follow, and thus they would grab my attention
please.
and
Okay,
start leading
Christians.
the way once I started running towards them.
Christine,
The coolest interaction that I experienced with a pawn was after having cleared a cave of bandits. I noticed a treasure chest on a platform that was well out of reach. By issuing the help command though, I noticed that my fighter pawn moved herself closer to the platform, and then kneeled down like she was waiting to give me a boost. Sure enough,
Oh,
when I ran
love
over,
that.
she launched me up with the springboard skill, and I was able to collect a rare fairy stone.
Those are the AIs. Instead of opening up maps and stuff like that, you just ask help from your AI buddies who got awesome. I want that.
Very cool. Combat is largely identical to how it was in the original Dragon's Dogma. You've got a button for light attacks, a button for heavy attacks, and then by holding down the left bumper, you've got a series of 4 skills that you can equip for a variety of attacks and spells. One of the big differences this time around is that the right bumper is now tied to your vocation action, which, as the
Vocation.
name implies, is an action unique to your vocation. For fighters, their vocation action is to raise their shield and guard against enemy attacks. For thieves, they've got a quick dodge called Swift Step, and for archers, they're able to directly aim with a steady shot.
I don't know which one I like better, the soldier, the archer, or the thief. Oh my god. Which one would you guys play? I like long range, but I think it would be between archer and soldier. I'm not sure.
New to combat is a hit stop effect that occurs when an enemy you're attacking is low on life, indicating that they're open to an execution by hitting them with a strong attack. It's a light touch, but it goes a long way in making combat feel much more brutal and impactful. It's worth
Looks
noting
fun.
that, like the original game, there's no melee lock-on mechanic and no dodge roll, unless it's tied to your vocation. It's a bold choice, and I have a feeling that not everyone will like it, but it does lend a very particular feel to Dragon's Dogma 2's combat. It's much less about split-second reflexes and fierce aggression, and much more about careful positioning, awareness of where your enemies are, relying on your pawns for support,
I like
and
this.
knowledge of how to exploit enemy weaknesses. I got to restart the
Look
demo
at how
several times
beautiful
in
that
the
is.
hour or so that I got to play, and the thing that really impressed me was how different each successive run felt. One time, I walked down the same beaten path I traversed in a previous session and suddenly got attacked by a griffin. In another, I followed a quest down to a riverbank and got to fight against a handful of saurians that I never saw anywhere else.
Holy
And
crap.
in another, I was guided by my pawn to a cave full of surprisingly tough bandits guarding a bunch of treasure and valuable materials. And me and my party got absolutely wrecked. But this encounter excited me because even though I was being guided by a pawn, the exploration still felt organic and made me well aware that the world of Dragon's Dogma 2 was one full of danger
Oh, that
and
looks
riches
epic.
in
He's
equal
getting
measure,
wrecked,
which
though.
is the heart of great exploration in video games. All that said though, there definitely was a sense of deja vu when playing through this demo. The skills that I used as both a fighter and a thief were almost identical to the early game skills from the first Dragon's Dogma. I didn't fight a single new enemy type, nor did I
It won't feel new to us because we've never played the first one.
fight any of
It will feel new to us.
those other enemies in a way that was much different from how I'd fight them in the original game. If there's one comfort that I can have as a fan of Dragon's Dogma, it's that Dragon's Dogma 2 will offer up more of what I loved about that first
Oh
game,
my God.
and that many of those minor elements have been improved upon. But still, I couldn't help but wish that I walked away from my demo
Oh
a
my
little more
God.
excited about something new about the sequel.
That looks so epic, guys. Oh. I want to
For
play
more
this
on
so
Dragon's
bad.
Dogma 2, don't miss the reveal trailer and the gameplay.
I want to play this so bad, guys. That looks so good. That looks so good. Oh my God, I want to play that so bad.